Good morning. Welcome to the online Bible study here at Peoples. We hope you have had a great week. We missed you all last week, and we will actually not have Bible study next week because we host the GACS Fine Arts, and there will actually be competition in this room. So we'll have to wait 2 weeks from this time to do our next lesson. But we're starting this book. It's time. If you are watching online and you don't have it, you can get it off of Amazon. And that's probably the easiest way to order it. You can also order it from Miss Crystal's website, but she may tell you to get it off Amazon too. So whichever works best for you. We have thoroughly enjoyed using her Bible studies here. I hope you all have enjoyed them as well. And I'm excited about this one. We actually had a couple years ago a ladies' conference that was this theme about time and redeeming the time, and for such a time as this, just that idea. And so I'm excited to study through those different things. We're gonna really just go through the introduction today, and then we'll pick up on the different characters that she goes through. My favorite part about this study is that it's about women in the Bible. And not that the men don't matter, but it's nice as a lady to get to study about ladies because they're more relatable to us than the men and what they go through. You know, in life, if you have a friend who's been through the same thing that you're going through, it's just nice to have that friend to relate to and to talk through it. And so I'm thankful for these different ladies in the Bible that we get to study about the things that we go through in life. Her theme that she started on about this was about a ladies' retreat she was going to, and the theme was about time, for such a time as this. And we all know that that comes from Esther. Esther 4:14 says, "Who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Like, that question was asked when Esther was going through what she went through. And we will actually study an entire chapter on Esther and how she used what the Lord put her through to the best of her ability and honored and glorified the Lord through it. In the story of Esther, Mordecai wanted Esther to realize that God had a divine purpose to accomplish in this world. And he does that through his people. He does that through you. He has a purpose for you. It's easy for us to look at big ministries and say, well, God has a purpose for this church or that church or this ministry or even this family. But you as an individual, the Lord has a purpose for you. Not your husband, not your grandchildren, not your children. He does have a purpose for them. But in this study, I want all of us to focus on what is my purpose. What is the purpose that the Lord has for me? So many times we want to fix big things. For instance, families. You want everything to work great in your family. But a lot of times it takes stepping back and saying, okay, Lord, what do I need to fix? Because that can't be fixed until you have done a work in my own heart. But we as ladies think we have to fix everybody else. And a lot of times we get our eyes off of what we need to fix in ourselves because we're so focused on fixing everything else. Whether it's relationships, whether it's the family dynamic, whether it's things going on at church, whatever it is, we're so busy trying to fix all that that we don't fix what we need to fix in ourselves. You all know, as women, if you've had children, you've been married, all of that, you spend your entire life pouring into other people. You do. You clean the house, you do the dishes, and I have a wonderful husband who helps me at times with those things. Like, he sees she needs some help, so he's like, let me do that, or can I do that for you? And he's wonderful like that. But ultimately that responsibility is mine. That's a God-given responsibility for me to take care of those things. And if you're not careful, you spend every minute of your life doing all of that and not asking the Lord to do anything individually for you. And I can think back on seasons, which is what we're going to talk about some today, where I got my eyes completely off what the Lord needed to do in me, and I was so focused on everybody else. Whether it was my family, the ministry, whatever. The best thing I ever did for myself spiritually was realizing I have to have time to fix me. I have to have time for the Lord to pour into me. I have to have time where I'm not trying to fix everybody else. I'm not trying to pour into everybody else. I'm letting the Lord pour into me. because then you take that and you do so much better fixing other things or pouring into everybody else. The phrase is often said, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. You cannot pour into other people if you're empty yourself. And it takes effort to do that. I can think of, it asks in this introductory part to think about different seasons of your life. I can think about different seasons of my life where I was absolutely, completely empty. And I was still trying to do everything else for everybody else. And I was no good at it because I was so empty myself. And I was not in a good spot spiritually because of that. And so she talks about this. She talks about how that Mordecai was trying to get Esther to see, this is your time. This is what the Lord wants for you. There is a purpose for you. The Lord puts people in your path, and he puts, there's positions that he puts you in. There's different purposes all along the way. There's a quote, I won't get it exactly right, but it talks about how that the Lord puts different people and things in your life at certain seasons to prepare you for what is coming in the next season. That is very true. And sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes there are things that happen that you're like, why is this happening? And then you get 5 years down the road and you're like, oh, that makes sense now. The Lord was teaching me how to go through this to prepare me for this. But that doesn't make it easy sometimes when you're going through those things. So Esther was in Persia at the specific time to help the Jewish people because they were going to be killed. If she had not been there, they probably would have been killed. And so I want you to think about in your own life, even the season you're in right now, what is the Lord's purpose for you in the season you're in right now? There's so many seasons. We have 4 seasons in weather. Honestly, in Georgia, they all kind of run together. They wanted to tell us we were going to have snow. We didn't get much of any of that. We got nothing here. Some of you that live a little further south got some. It was beautiful. But all the seasons, I feel like nowadays just run together. Unless you live in certain areas. Like New York is slammed with snow right now. I don't know that I would want that either. So it's just like the seasons in our life though. Like we look at the physical weather seasons and we're like, oh, I like this one better. We've talked a lot in here about how some of us in here love the cold and some of us don't like the cold and some of us would rather it be warm all the time. Well, that's the way it is spiritually in our lives. There are certain seasons you're like, oh, I wish I could stay this way all the time. And others you're like, no, do we have to do this again? And you really feel that spiritually in your life. And so she likes to use the Webster's 1828 dictionary. It's one of my favorite things that I learned from Ms. Crystal in these books is to look up words through that. If you've looked them up at all, you know there are a lot of scriptural principles in the definitions in that dictionary, which is amazing to me that back then the Bible was in the dictionary. We know that's not true today. And so I think that's why she uses that one because there are scriptural principles in it. And so she says to look up the word time. And here are the 3 different things that were listed out for time used as a noun. Time is a particular portion. You all know that in your life. We were just talking about January seemed like it was 5 million years long this year. And February's gone. Like you blinked, February's gone. And now Sunday will be March 1st. And I feel like once this starts rolling this way, the rest of the year, just you blink and it's over. It feels that way with my children. I can honestly think back of when they were teeny tiny, having them. And now I'm about to have a 25-year-old. Like that blows my mind. Like, what? I can't be that old. That's the way I feel. And the seasons are like that. They just fly by and you reminisce on the seasons that were. Another definition was that it's a season. Just like the seasons of weather, life are seasons. Some seasons are really good and some seasons are really tough. Some seasons are trying. Some seasons are difficult. Some seasons are very joyous. Some are calm and peaceful. We have all of those. And then another one was a duration. And I don't know about you, but there are some seasons where you feel like you're just enduring. Lord, please help me just get through this. And so those are the definitions that were listed there. And so she talks about a season. Think about time in your life as a season. And she goes through the different 4 seasons of things. We cycle through spring, summer, fall, and winter, and they all have purposes. Some of them I'm like, are you sure there's a purpose to this season? I mean, everything is dreary and crunchy and brown and bleh. But that season kills off a lot of the icky bugs that we don't want hanging around during the spring. And so there's a reason for every one of those. When you get to spring and all of that, that's when things grow. I was laughing the other day because they were already talking about how high the pollen count is. It's February. How is the pollen count already that high? But there are seasons for that. There are seasons in life too. There are seasons of waiting. There are seasons of growth. There are seasons of busyness. There are seasons of rest. I think often about in the ministry, I feel like there are certain seasons that are so busy, it makes my head spin. We're in that right now because of everything going on with the school and all of that. And then there's other seasons where I feel like I can just, and then I'm like, don't do that too long because here it comes again. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And we can trust the Lord that he has a purpose in every one of those. Every single one of those seasons. So let's look at Ecclesiastes 3. I'm going to read through verses 1 through 11 just because it gives the point of this whole study. Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 11. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the sun. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. That one's tough sometimes. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. So I want you to remember the phrase in verse 11 as we go through this study. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. And although there are certain seasons that are hard and they are tough, he can take those seasons and make something beautiful in your life. And I feel like as we go through these next couple of questions, as I thought through things in my life, there's so many things like that were absolutely the hardest things I'd ever been through in my life when I was going through them. But the Lord took them and used those to make me who I am today. And that's the way you have to look at these seasons. You need to look at them as there is a purpose to them. They're not wasted. Now, you can waste it. You can go through those seasons and waste every bit of it. You can waller in it. You can have pity parties. You can just be miserable. You can mouth at the Lord all day long about it if you want to. But if you stay that way, you're going to waste what he could teach you even through those difficult times. That doesn't mean that you have to be perfect and that your flesh is going to handle everything perfectly. You're going to have moments where you fall apart and moments where you have a pity party and moments where you look at the Lord and say, I don't understand why this has to be this way. Let's be honest. He already knows you feel that way. So you need to talk to him like he's your best friend and just say, I need you to show me why this has to be this way. I think sometimes people think, well, I cannot talk to God that way. Well, he already knows you're thinking it. He already knows. So why not just be honest with him when you talk to him and pray to him? Like, you don't have to try to put on some kind of front with the Lord because he knows your heart and he knows your mind. Be real with him, because when you're real about all of it, I feel like the Lord can help you process through all those things a lot better. she asked the question, when you think about your life, how have you seen it to be true that there is a season and a time to every purpose? All of you could sit and think about certain seasons where there was a purpose to it, and you may not have understood it at the time, but later you can see it. Some seasons you saw the purpose immediately. This is why this is happening. I understand it. But one thing I want to focus on is, why do we spend so much time wishing for the next season? We do that. I remember, and my husband tells teenagers this, growing up, you're a teenager and you wish for, oh, I cannot wait to graduate high school. And then you graduate high school, and then it's, oh, I cannot wait to get married. And then you get married and it's, oh, I cannot wait to have children. And then you have the children and they're teeny tiny, oh, I can't wait for them to walk. And then they walk and you're like, okay, maybe not. And then they walk and you're like, oh, I cannot wait till they can do this. And you just, it's constantly not enjoying or focusing on the season you're in, wishing for the next one. And then you get to where you have a 25-year-old and you're like, man, I wasted so much time wishing to get here, and I should have enjoyed what was there. But we do that about everything. And we do it in the good things, and definitely when things are tough. We wish this would just be over and be done with so I can move on from this. I use this example a lot. My daddy was so sick for so long. And if there was one thing he taught our family was, what are we going to learn through this? He dealt with cancer and treatments for 10 years. And I remember thinking, is this ever going to, why does he keep having to go through this? But the Lord used him for a purpose in that season. And he tried to teach us, whatever the season is, whatever the difficulty is, you ask the Lord, okay, what can I learn from this? What are you trying to teach me? How can I help somebody else in all of this? It was the best lesson he ever taught me growing up, and I'm thankful for that. I don't want to wish away every season that I'm in, even when they're hard, because the older you get, the more you learn. The Lord is getting rid of some junk that I don't need in my life. When the season is difficult, he is really trying to get rid of junk in my life, get rid of the selfishness I have, or the pride I have, or the things that I'm not serious about. You all know when something devastating happens in your life, you get real serious about some things that you haven't been serious about before. And I've thought to myself lately, Lord, I don't want to get to the point to where I'm not serious about what you want to do in my life, that you have to bring something into my life to get me that way. I don't want it to be that he has to do that in order to get my attention. Now, if he chooses to do that, then I hope that I use it for his honor and for his glory. She says in here, note some of the seasons that you have had that have had the most impact, shaping you into the person you are today. I cannot answer that for you. You have to fill that in for yourself. I just wrote down a few different things. Getting saved. That was a life-changing moment for me. My daddy being sick changed everything about who I would have been if I had not gone through those things. Getting married, having children, my daddy passing away, having miscarriages, being in different ministries, watching your children grow up, getting to be here in this ministry. Those are life-changing things. And it would do us all some good to sit down and remember those things often. Not just, oh, well, this lesson's telling me I need to do this. We should do that often. We should remember the different, I would call them milestones in our life of what the Lord used to work in my life. Not just milestones of the good things, but everything that the Lord has used to make me who I am today. It would do us a lot of good to spend some time on that. We don't. We forget those things, and we're real easy to get comfortable where we are and not remember the hard times or the difficult times or what the Lord used to work in my life about certain things. Not all seasons that you've had have been positive. They haven't. There's been a lot of good ones. There's been a lot of tough ones. And both equally serve a purpose in my life. They both have a purpose to make me who I am today. And everything I will go through today and future days will make me into the person the Lord wants me for tomorrow. They all serve a purpose, and don't waste a single one of them. but we get full of ourselves and we waste time. And we sit around trying to tell the Lord how he needs to change it all and how it would be better if he did it this way. But he knows what I need. He knows what needs to be changed in my life. And he knows what my heart needs. We want to pretend a lot of times that we have it all together. I mean, let's be real. If you're going to church, you're reading your Bible, your family's involved in the work of the Lord, they're saved, you sometimes get comfortable with the fact, okay, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're good. Okay, well, some of us, we've done that so long, we get comfortable in it, and we're not really serious about what the Lord's trying to do in our hearts. I think often about church services. People get so, I don't want to say hyped up for Sundays, and then Wednesday nights they come in and they're like, I mean, I have to tell myself that. Don't let my mind race so much on Wednesday nights because of everything that happened during the day or those kind of things. Like, I need to be focused on and honestly, the Wednesday night services, what's being preached there's a lot there. And I don't want to waste it because I'm just mind numb because this all happened this week and I can't even think anymore. But if you look around, you see it. Everybody's like, and you're like, okay, we gotta get serious about this. Or people will sit there and not open their Bible. And I'm like, well, on Sunday, why are you so engaged on Sunday? And then on Wednesday night, you're just like, I don't want to waste a minute. And I have been guilty of that so many times, of just going through the motions of it, going to visitation, coming to church, serving in my area of service, and not really being serious about what the Lord wants me to do. It's serious. The missionary Sunday morning blew my mind. Like, it was convicting just listening to him because of the passion he had about reaching people and talking about how the Lord gave his life for me. So why would I not be trying to reach other people? But how many times do I waste that? I waste that a lot. So in this last little bit of this, I want to go over, there's 5 different ladies we're going to talk about through this study. And so I want to encourage you over the next week, maybe glance through some of the lessons. Ruth is about a time for commitment. I mean, she had to be serious about what she was going to do. She had a choice to make. She had to be committed, or she had to just go back to the way that things were. Naomi is about restoration. And then you have Mary is about surrender. Hannah was about waiting. We don't like to wait. And in this day and time, everybody wants it right now. Like, okay, you took more than 15 seconds to hand me my fast food order and now I'm mad at you. Well, that's the way that we act about everything. And then Esther was about courage. She was bold. And there's so many things in our lives that we can learn from these ladies. She talks about in here about the Bible studies. And I told y'all, these chapters, it's probably going to take several weeks to get through every one of them. Just because of all that's in them. I don't want to rush through them. And she talks about that in here. She set up the Bible studies to be that way so you don't feel like you have to rush through every single day being a certain thing. And then she's honest with us here, and I've been honest with y'all before about Bible reading and study. There have been times in my life where I started and then I quit, and then I had this thing in my mind sometimes of, well, I missed a day, so now I'll just give up. I messed up the whole year, so I'm just done. Well, that's a ridiculous way of looking at it. Pick it up the next day and try again. And so she talks about all that. In order to live a victorious Christian life, we have to know the Lord. And the only way we can know him is through his word. It's not going to happen. My husband said this on Sunday, and the missionary said it. It's not going to happen through books. It's not going to happen through podcasts. It's going to happen through studying God's word and what God's word says about those things. And she talks about that. God preserved his word for us so that we can know him. When we read and study God's word, we're not studying a book. We are seeing a person. And that is the truth. It's not the same as sitting down and just reading some book. We are seeing who God is and what he can do in our lives. And I don't want to waste a single second of it. And so I'm excited as we're going to get to study through these different ladies. And I hope that you will enjoy this because, I don't know, I just love studying about women in the Bible and being able to relate to them. So I want to encourage you over, since we won't have this next week, We'll have it in 2 weeks. Look through some of this. Decide, I think that's going to be my favorite one, or this one might be my favorite one. So I want to encourage you in that. I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.